Hi everyone, welcome to PeakTV. My name's Richard Rouse, Head of Business Development at Peak Asset Management, and we're stoked to have John Houston in the office today, Executive Chairman of YPB Group. Welcome, John.
Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure. John, you've built a fascinating technology at YPB. Are you able to explain a little bit of how the technology actually works?
The core technology originally was based on the concept that if you can see it, it can be copied. So we took the opportunity to build an invisible tracer technology that you can put into plastics, inks, fibres, almost any substrate. It's safe for human contact with foods, with medicines, etc., etc. It passes FDA in China, Europe and US food contact requirements, and so it's very versatile, very inexpensive, and allows brands the opportunity to detect if something is real or if it's fake. And to be able to detect if it's real or fake is sometimes very difficult if the Chinese have made an exact copy of the original packaging, for example. That's real. That's fake.
Since the IPO in 2014, YPB has gone from a Chinese-focused business to more of a global business. Are you able to explain how you achieved that?
So first of all, we were fully centric in China when we IPO'd. That was risky, because of China risk, so we wanted to expand globally. And if I could put it this way, the problem is in China of counterfeiting, but the opportunity exists outside of China. So we focused on a couple of acquisitions, building a very strong management team, and also what we call a multiplier partnership model, so that we could multiply our resources into distribution. And so with a combination of those, we got into the US, we're in Mexico, we're in Southeast Asia, in Bangkok. We've now got 2 operational bases in Australia, and we're in China, of course. So we have become, from China, a global reach company.
Why is YPB relevant for Australian brands and companies?
A year ago or 2 years ago when we IPO'd, it wasn't relevant for Australian companies because counterfeit is not something that your viewers would see on a day-to-day basis here in Australia. But what's happened in the last year or so, there's a couple of sweeping global trends that we've been able to predict and jump on. Those trends are the rise of the middle class in China. So you've seen a lot of Australian brands be very successful cracking the China market. However, that has brought a new set of risks to them. So for example, they now risk counterfeit, they risk grey market, diversion, etc., etc. And our product is ideally suited now for those brands in Australia. I think the other 2 fundamental global shifts that we've been able to jump on are the decline in mass marketing. You and your viewers know that every day we watch TV differently, we consume marketing differently. It's the age of direct consumer engagement. And what better way to do it than combine authenticity with consumer engagement? And that's what YPB does very, very well. The last important trend that we've been able to jump on is that governments historically have been a very big consumer of anti-counterfeit technology. Now, why do governments want to improve their technology now? It's because of terrorism. And so we can now work with a government to enhance the protection available in the vital government documents that we carry and we take for granted on a day-to-day basis, like passports, ID cards, etc., etc.
John, the company seems to be gaining significant traction in government markets. Are you able to explain what this means for the business?
We actually acquired a company called Intellectual Product Protection in Thailand, and that's how we got our Bangkok base. But behind that was a guy who's been in the government document area for about 35 years, worked for the US government printing office, for currency printers, etc. And due to his contact base and his expertise and his seniority in that industry, we've got some really interesting opportunities. So for example, now we've got a proprietary to YPB technology that has now been put into around 20% of the annual passport supply around the world. So we're in 3 of the world's passports out of the 199 countries that issue passports. We're in 3 of them, and there's about 125 million passports issued per annum. We're in about 18 million of them. So that's a really cool advance and stake in the ground for YPB. The other really positive opportunity that we've found is in Mexico. And we're joint venturing with a company in Mexico called Afamix. We've already won 4 contracts to supply vital record documents to Mexican states. So Mexico is a very interesting country. It's got 120 million people. It's got 32 states. Each of those states issue their own vital record documents for births and marriages, matriculation out of high school, etc., etc. And we believe that market is a market of about 50 to 60 million documents per annum, and we've already won 4 of those. So we believe that our Mexican deal will actually expand into other areas of vital documents for Mexico, and will be a very profitable area for YPB.
You recently announced a partnership with Aurora. Are you able to go into a little bit more detail about what that means for the business and the value that might drive for shareholders?
The partnership for Aurora is, first of all, our model. So we are trying to partner with people rather than putting on enormous headcount ourselves to sell individually to brands. And the Aurora model therefore is perfect for our strategy. First of all, we are very proud of the relationship with Aurora, and Aurora and ourselves are now taking our solution to the brands, especially that are exporting to Asia. So here's what Aurora were able to identify, is that most packaging today is not intelligent packaging, it's not smart packaging. And we believe that by bringing our technology to Aurora, we can help them make their packaging smarter by putting anti-counterfeit technology in, and also the important customer engagement technology that YPB is so good at.
You recently announced earnings guidance calendar year 2017 of $5 million pre-tax. John, are you able to explain why you feel confident in achieving this target?
We're confident because we've got a solid existing revenue base that's rolling up in 2016, and we run a very rigorous pipeline process. So now we're established in China, Thailand, for Southeast Asia, Australia, USA and Mexico. So each one of those territories is headed up by a senior executive, and they run a sales pipeline process that we rigorously manage. And so what we've been able to do is separate the deals that we have either under contract or we repeat business with those customers, and deals which are what we call pipeline deals. We cut off at 70% probability of actually winning the deal. That means that we have to have engaged with the customer, he has to believe in the technology, we're not up against anybody else, and we therefore believe we've got a 70% chance of closing next year. And so out of those 2 elements, we think that our revenues will be in the high $30 million next year, and will spawn a net profit of $5 million. The company has put a stake in the ground, provided guidance along those lines, and the whole company is now dedicated towards delivering those numbers.
And just lastly, John, what do you feel sets YPB apart from your other tech ASX listed counterparts?
Well, there's very few competitors in our field, firstly, but the ASX counterparts, I suppose, you might think of as some of the hope stories. So especially B2C companies that are hoping, for take-up, etc. We're a B2B company, and we're very focused on revenue. And so we're not a hope story. We're not a tech story that's, reverse listed into the market and now is hoping to achieve things. We're just an execution story. I've got a very strong execution team behind me. I think that sets us apart. I think I've got time to sit in front of the market now and spend more time with brokers and dealers as we are with Peak and your customer base. And I think that together with our operational capability, our product set, the time and place, we're at the right time and place, having built a strong launchpad to deliver significant value to shareholders.
John, thank you for joining us on PeakTV. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
All the best.
Cheers. Thanks.